Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is The Local Lens, a podcast where we go inside one community's experience with the drug epidemic. We're coming to you from Stanton, Kentucky, which is a small town nestled at the foothills of Appalachia. Our show is here to share perspectives. We're sitting down and having conversations with people and sharing what they see. And after sitting down with enough people and gathering enough perspectives, then we should be able to get a clearer picture of exactly what we're facing with this drug problem. So in today's episode, I had the incredible opportunity to sit down with an advocate, somebody who has now dedicated her career towards fighting the same problem that has taken her family by storm. Her dedication, perseverance, and skillful and tactical approach to doing something about this has proven to be largely effective. Since Jenell Brewer has started SPARK Ministries back in 2016, overdose rates have dropped significantly in our county, and we'll get into exactly what the statistics are later, but the work that Miss Jenell Brewer has done is truly incredible. Well, that's good enough for an intro, though. Let's go on and get into the podcast. This is The Local Lens, a Powell County Cares project from the Powell County Health Department. Thank you all for listening, and here we go.
Well, hello, my name is Jenell Brewer, and I am from Eastern Kentucky, Powell County. Nice. My role is I am a mother first, also a prayer warrior. That's very important to me. Mm-hmm. I'm a daughter, a wife of a husband of 30 years, and also an advocate for Powell County, Eastern Kentucky, and Casey's Law trainer. Yeah. So, got a lot of titles, but I'm just an old hillbilly girl that just wants to help people in addiction. Sorry.
You surely are. You surely are helping people. Yeah.
Might want to cut that.
It's all right. It'll work. It'll work just fine. So, you started SPARK a few years ago. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us real briefly just what SPARK is?
Well, SPARK stands for Special People Advocating Recovery Kentucky. Okay. We are special people that is helping families find a roadmap when their loved one falls into addiction. Mm-hmm. We also reach out to our families. We want to make sure that our family are educated on addiction, and we also help our children and those that's in addiction by giving them groups and just resources throughout the state of Kentucky and making sure that they are successful even when they come back from treatment with jobs or whatever skill that they have.
There are a lot of different tools and resources out there and available, but people just don't know about a lot of them, honestly. And that seems to be kind of the role you guys are filling a little bit, just like connecting people to what they need to be connected to. Mm-hmm. And one of those, what we're going to talk about mostly today, is Casey's Law. Mm-hmm. Casey's Law is an incredible tool. It's an incredible piece of legislature that's been around, how long? Like 15 years?
Casey's Law was actually, Casey died in 2004, in actually July of 2004, and Charlotte's the mother that actually was one of those brave moms that said, my son may have passed, but I want other families to have information. Mm-hmm. So it was, when he passed in 2004, actually Casey's Law came in effect in 2005. So she got straight on the point that she was going to get something done, and she, evidently she has.
That is really quick for legislature to pass, too. Yeah. 1 year for, wow. So what exactly is Casey's Law?
Casey's Law is a petition. Okay. That's a civil action that is filed in your circuit clerk's office, scheduling 2 appointments with your qualified health professionals within 14 days to be put on the docket in front of your district judge. Okay. So that they can find probable cause to see if your loved one is a danger to themselves or others, and can reasonably benefit from treatment.
So to wrap that up shortly, Casey's Law gets people in front of a doctor to see if they medically are in need for treatment.
It is a law that that has the family member actually write a statement why they think their loved one suffers from addiction. Okay. And then also there's also a question that says, why do you think your loved one is a danger to themselves and others? It kind of goes hand in hand with like a 202A, and which that is like with the 202A is like a petition that you can file for someone for mental health.
Okay.
But with Casey's Law, it's for addiction. So, and as we know, mental health and addiction kind of goes hand in hand. So that's why it's very important that they see a medical doctor, an MD, so that medical doctor can do an evaluation on that loved one to see what's really going on with that. And then also there's they can to see a health professional, a therapist, or someone that can talk with them about their mental illness, or even if to see if they have a mental illness. That gives that professional that kind of takes it off the judge and off the family to see professionally what does this person need.
So what does it actually look like to go through with Casey's Law? What is that process like?
There's a process with Casey's Law.
Okay.
After you go to your circuit clerk's office, you get your appointment set, correct?
Okay.
At the same time, your judge has to look at this petition to make sure that it does have probable cause.
Okay.
That the person filing this petition it's reasonably up to date. What's their behaviors. The judge signs it. From there, it has to go to your sheriff's department.
Okay.
So from your sheriff's department, what happens is they have to serve this individual.
Yeah.
So as serving that individual, they will have 3 appointments that they have to go to. They have to attend both appointments with the medical doctor and or a therapist. And then they will also have a court date they have to return back to.
Okay.
So when that person comes back, the petitioner files it, and it's called the respondent. When the respondent, your loved one, comes back to the court system, they will have those evaluations in front of them.
Okay.
The court system will.
Yeah. So, all right. So that makes sense then. It's like you sign the petition.
Right.
The petition goes to the sheriff. Sheriff says, all right, you've got to go do these 3 things.
Yeah.
Like you got to see a doctor, a therapist, and then the judge again.
Yes.
And at the end of, once you see the judge, that's when they find out if they're going to have to go to rehab somewhere, right?
Yep.
And so one thing I've seen a lot, in justifying Casey's Law, is that court-ordered rehab can be as successul as voluntary rehab.
Oh, yes.
Can you speak to that for a second then?
Well, I can honestly say in Powell County, I can say in 2017, we cut our overdose death rates 50%, and this was documented by our coroner, Hondo Hearn. So I do know that involuntary treatment does work. When I seen them statistics come back in 2017 in Powell County, it blew me away.
That is incredible. And if you didn't catch it, she said we cut overdose rates in half.
In half, yes, we did.
In half, which is absolutely bonkers.
Yes.
So now, SPARK is taking what they have apparently learned to do really well, which is get people signed up for Casey's Law. They're taking that method and working with other organizations and spreading that knowledge around the state.
And we are training our court systems, our mental health facilities, our doctor's offices. We are training the professionals as well as the families of how Casey's Law works. Okay. So statistics are rising. I mean, I can honestly say in 2018 we did 51, but a total over 4 years. Let's see, let me look at my statistics here. We did 160 in 4 years.
In 4 years,
In 4 years, just in Powell County.
It's been rising each year since
It's
then.
rising every year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Is there much resentment that comes when somebody has Casey's Law filed for their sake? Is there much resentment and backlash from that?
The answer is the individual that is being filed on, at times, yes, there is. But the law, when the law was written, it talks about how it's to intervene for someone who is unable to recognize their need for treatment due to impairment. So if you're sticking a substance in your body every day or every other day, the only thing that you care about is putting that substance in your body. So when someone that you don't even know helps a loved one file a petition that kind of makes you go to get an assessment and talk to a therapist you don't want to talk to, yeah, there's resentment. Yeah. But I have got hundreds, because we travel throughout the state. We help counties, 120 counties. I get phone calls every day. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you, I'm alive today because my mom, my dad filed Casey's Law. And they say to me, I would have not made it another day. So to me, yeah, they're mad in the beginning. But once they get in somewhere or they start working a program, then what happens is they start seeing that impairment lifts. The brain begins to start thinking, and they are actually relieved that somebody stepped in and could do what they couldn't do. Because all they wanted was the drug. Well, as a mom, kind of getting into where I'm at here, you know, you're desperate. All you see is your loved one, your friends, your community. All you see is pain. And they're going through this under the influence. But as a mom, we have to live it sober. So we have to see, and their children have to see the pain. And that's hard. But if there's breath, there's hope.
Yeah.
Us moms, us dads, us family members, if we have a key and we know this might not work the first time, but I'm not going to let her die. I'm not going to let him die. It doesn't matter if they fall back every time. I can fall again. I can keep falling. And eventually they're going to say, okay, I give up. I want to do the right thing. And I've seen that happen before. So what Casey's Law does is it gives the family members or friends a voice to speak up for that loved one and say, we won't let you die. Even when you want to die, we don't want to bury you. And guess what? I can honestly say the statistics in the state of Kentucky, I have every bit of that too. I can honestly say the total of cases in 2019 was 2,404 in the state of Kentucky.
That's plenty of them.
How many is that? How many lives is that? What if we didn't have this? That would be maybe 2,404 people that we buried.
Yeah.
But because of Casey's Law, and some mom, some dad had a voice to speak up and say, I want to help my child. So I need the help of the court system without any criminal charges now, of a civil action to get my loved one in treatment. And to give them the tools that they need to get back on track.
That's great.
That's why I love Casey's Law.
Yeah. That's great. That's a good reason to love it.
I know it.
Yeah, that's a good reason.
I know it.
So it is now your life.
It is.
It was not your life 10 years ago?
No.
No. Could you tell how you got...
Well, actually, it was my life. I get emotional. My dad, I was the very first person in Powell County to ever file Casey's Law in 2005. My sister got killed in a tragic car wreck up on Hardy's Creek, and my father fell into addiction. My dad worked at Square D, amazing man, and he fell into addiction to alcohol. And I was Daddy's little girl, softball player, Corvette was my very first car. Just, I was his life. Mm-hmm. But when she died, it was like, he died too. Mm-hmm. And I had heard, he had begun to drink so much that I didn't know what to do with him anymore. Find him laying on the floor, passed out, and I was only 20 then, and I didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. Just newly married. I had been in Lexington and had taken him to rehab, and while I was there, they had told me about Casey's Law. And I thought, I'm going to try it. Well, it was a new law, 2005. Mm-hmm. And so I went to my judge, Judge Kenny Prophet, and I said, Judge, can you help me file a Casey's Law? And he said, I'm not sure what that is, but we'll sure find out. And that's what we did. We filled out the paperwork. He went for his assessment, and he never had to go through with Casey's Law because he's seen the voice mm-hmm. of his daughter rising up, mm-hmm. asking for help from him. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. So my dad now is 73 years old. Wow. And he's living a good life.
Good.
10 years later, my daughter fell into addiction. It was different from my dad than my daughter. And it seemed like that when I heard that my daughter had fell into addiction, I didn't want to believe it. Mm-hmm. I was in denial. And so I remembered this law. And I thought, well, I guess we're going to try this again. And that's when I went to work and started learning about the law. Mm-hmm. I did file Casey's Law on my daughter, and she did well as long as she had that accountability. Mm-hmm. She would fall back, and when she would, I would file another one. So I filed 3. She is now in recovery, mm-hmm. and I'm grateful for that today.
Congratulations. How long has she been in recovery?
Well, she's been working her recovery for the last 2 years. Okay. So she's working on mm-hmm. it.
Great.
She's had some struggles, mm-hmm. as we all have, mm-hmm. but she's doing her best. She's trying.
Good.
So that's kind of how I got involved with Casey's Law. I did start working at the circuit clerk's office. I feel like this was a divine moment for me to mm-hmm. learn more about Casey's Law because when I was given that opportunity to work at the circuit clerk's office, that's kind of what I did. I started filing the Casey's Laws. I'd seen that there was a gap because I don't know if you've ever been in the circuit clerk's office much, but a lot of people don't realize how busy they are. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't that personal relationship mm-hmm. that we need as parents when you go in, when you find out your loved one, Yeah. But when you as a mother or as a daughter, I can personally speak, when you find out your daughter or your father is on drugs or alcohol, you just want somebody to listen to you. Mm-hmm. So I seen that they was doing a great job but there was no education on it. Mm-hmm. I began to study about Casey's Law, and mm-hmm. that's when I met Charlotte Wethington. Me and her met, and they call me Little Charlotte. Because she's, she runs in Northern Kentucky. Mm-hmm. Their statistics are very high. Mm-hmm. And then, so I seen her passion, and I seen how she lost her son. And it put a fire down in me. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I'm going to educate people how to do this. Yeah. And that's exactly what I did. Yeah. I started educating people. I started, that's when SPARK created. Mm-hmm. That's when it was an advocacy center where people could come and I could sit down with a mom or a dad and help them file the petition. Mm-hmm. Help them find a doctor, mm-hmm. a therapist. I don't know about you, but I worked all the time. I didn't go talk to a therapist.
Yeah.
I didn't know who to get a hold of a doctor.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's one thing I think is really important for your role specifically, because like this is how our entire economy works. This is how everything works. Like if you're taking the time to know everything there is to know about how to go through with Casey's Law, then that means that everybody else can like just come and ask you really easily. And that's what people have been doing.
Yes.
And that's awesome.
Yes.
So back to like the nuts and bolts of Casey's Law then.
Okay.
How long does it usually take? You said they had like a 14-day window to get the medical assessments in.
Well, it is supposed to last within 14 days.
Okay. Which is really quick, honestly.
It is. Once your key players get on board, your circuit clerk, your county attorney, your sheriff, you've got your doctors, your therapist, you've got, and everybody kind of, it's like a well-oiled machine.
That's great.
It just rolls.
That's awesome.
It just goes out with it. You know what I'm saying?
So that's a part of what you're doing going around other counties.
Oh,
that's awesome. So this is a very important part of what SPARK does, because they realize that a fist punches much harder than 5 individual fingers can. But now, this following clip has been unedited by me. This is pure Jenell Brewer being excited about what she's doing.
And when I worked in the circuit clerk's office, it was like God just divinely, that was my, I worked there 6 months, and I learned all about Casey's Law and the barriers, and it's not long to be there, but that's the purpose I was there. Yeah. Because right after that is when we started SPARK.
Yeah.
Because what happened is we would get the paperwork, we would help the families find the appointments. I would walk over to the sheriff's office, tell them we have a Casey's Law that needs to be served. After the Casey's Law was served, they would let us know. From there, what we would do is then, when the evaluations was done, I worked in the court system, so I knew they were there. So then we put them on, they were on the docket, and we already had a bed letter.
So a bed letter is pretty much an acceptance letter from a treatment facility. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So if you're another community and you're hearing this right now and you need Casey's Law to be picking up steam there, what it takes is getting in people's faces.
That's what it takes.
That's what it takes. You cannot ignore somebody standing in your face.
Right. We're in 10 counties now. SPARK is.
Great, cool.
So we help, like in Perry, we're in Perry County. We have advocacy office. We don't just do Casey's Law, as I said. We do.
You connect people to what they need.
That's exactly what we do.
Yeah. That's
exactly
great.
What we do. When people walk in this office and we say, what is it that you want? Most of our loved ones say, they don't know what they want. Yeah. They're just in addiction. Yeah. They want a good life. They want to live again. They want to be a good mom. Yeah. We refer out. That's all we do. We refer to different clinics, and we just say, okay, have you tried Vivitrol? And so we set their appointment up before they ever leave this office. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and what we do is we make sure that this is their plan, not ours. I'm not going to make your plan. If I make your plan, you're not going to do it. Yeah. So they make the plan, and after they make the plan, they follow through.
What I see from SPARK, as kind of an outsider's perspective on it, you're approaching this as a family issue. It's what addiction can do. It can take somebody that you love. Yes. If it can take yourself, but like it can take somebody so close to you that you just don't want to see hurt, and there are tools you can use to help. You don't just have to stand off and be a bystander. No. Like you can get involved. You don't have to stand by hopeless or anything. And so thank you for that. I appreciate that. And what is it, 160 some people over the past 4 years also appreciate it. Yes. And that's incredible. Yes.
Yeah, that's just the individuals, and you got to think of the families with that too. So, it has really amazed me how that our community has wrapped around this, because we're so connected to our police officers, our courthouses, our school system. I'm even connected to the schools. And, if we reach, God said to me, he said, if you could reach your courthouse, your schoolhouse, and your jailhouse, you'll get everybody in your community.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And the thing is, Stanton isn't unlike any other small town. No. There are so many towns that deal with this, and, obviously you can't go at a problem in 100 different places the same exact route. But doggone it, the courthouse and the school and the jailhouse, those are 3 good places to start.
That's right.
And honestly, there's so many places, everybody knows everybody everywhere.
Right.
Then, like, this can be any community.
Yes.
And Stanton's pretty lucky to have had you dropped into it. So.
Yes. It's a dream. It's a vision. No, it's a calling.
It's a little bit of all 3.
It's a calling.
Yeah.
It is a calling. It is a calling.
Yeah.
I want to say, my last thing I want to say is that this office is a place of no judgment. You know, I've had our officers standing in here with our inmates, you know. We're a centralized place that has broke the barriers and stigma. And we're a place where, from your doctor's offices to your police officers to your families, they can call and say, or come in and say, I have someone in addiction. Will you help? And we get to work.
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
Good.
And that's why we're called SPARK.
So that's all the time that we have today. I would like to thank WSKV, first of all, for broadcasting our show. I would also like to thank the Powell County Health Department for supporting us and for allowing this show to happen. And more than anything else, though, I would like to thank Jenell Brewer and the rest of the SPARK team. The work you all are doing is incredible. Jenell, thank you for coming onto the show and sharing your story with us. It's very personal. It's very touching. And what I love most about SPARK is that they actually attain results. But clearly, we're not done with our work on this issue. There's always more that can be done. And I urge the listeners here, if you see a problem, do something about it. Jenell's story is a very replicable picture of how a lot of people can get a lot of good work done. But anyways, this is the Local Lens. Thank you guys for listening. This is a Powell County Cares project from the Powell County Health Department. We're sharing perspectives using our people, our voices, and our stories, because no one sees it like we do.